Well, we do really three things. One is that we have Winona 360 itself, which I do tell students is sort of a living, breathing rubric. If you want to know what you need to do to be at the standard that this class suggests, is look at Winona 360. Of course, we go beyond that. Look at, and students are given a variety of publications that they're constantly engaged in, that they're learning what does the standard look like. The second thing is we do use very practical rubrics, that this would be the expectations of that. These are what we set out as being the criteria for acceptable work. And then the third thing is we workshop, and we workshop a lot. And so workshop allows us to reinforce the rubric in a way that, so to put it a different way, almost all of, on a weekly basis, students submit work for workshop. And then every week we workshop that vis-a-vis the criteria of the rubric and the criteria that would be implicit in Winona 360. And so that evaluation really works on sort of a normative standard of Winona 360, and that as opposed to a graded standard. And that, you know, I come back to that, but I really try to, what I want students to be leaving my classroom with is not so much a grade. I want them to be leaving with the habit of mind. And that if they have those habit of minds, they will be able to produce and understand at the level that they'll be able to continue to be successful. So I really try to break that habit of mind issue. Grades are important, and they're very, I mean, I think if we interviewed the students, they would probably talk about the grades, because I think many of them consider it a much harder grade, and they would probably in many ways suggest that, oh my God, this class is all about grades, it's so hard. But I'm actually trying to do something else, which is I'm actually trying to get them to kind of change their approach, and that their approach must begin with active practice and active engagement, and then that leads to effective work of a quality that you would consider effective for the field, but also effective for their own growth. Well, I use workshop for two particular reasons. One is our students do need to develop the ability to talk about visual communication, the ability to articulate a concept and an idea, and then be able to critically examine how effectively that was presented in a piece of visual communication is very important for their development as visual communicators, but also very important for their ability to work in the field. Their work will be primarily one in which they are expressing how their work works or does not work, or how the work of another works or does not work. And so the ability to speak clearly and critically analyze, but not only critically analyze in terms of what's wrong, but also be able to critically analyze by what can be done to get to what's right. And so workshop really becomes the best way to do that, because visual communication by its very nature is very complex, and that the discussion that you can create in a workshop allows you to delve into the complexity of this that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. The two reasons are, number one, the ability to evaluate critically and express that critical evaluation. The second reason is that workshops facilitate a discussion of complexity that you can't really do. My own personal experience is in very sort of fixed pedagogies of you know, various classic traditional fixed pedagogies. You can't really, they don't really have the flexibility to delve into and embrace and respond to complexity. Well, for a journalist in the field, you know, you're going to be working with editors. You're going to be working with your collaborators, both fellow journalists, but also people who may be using your work in other parts of the production process. So we use the classic discussion forum, more or less the seminar forum. It's led by me, and each student submits their work for the week that's going to be workshopped, and we go over it one at a time, and we talk about it, and we challenge, and we critique, and we push. You know, at some points in these workshops, I have to tell students that I actually have to restrict students and tell them that they can't say positive things about the photo, because they're all wonderful people, and but that makes them terrible workshop people, because they want to, of course, and of course we do this. We actually lay down ground rules. not that we necessarily need to, but we try to keep the focus on the fact that we're looking at things critically so that we can all learn and build from that. And so we are frank about that, but we're trying to be frank in the sense that, you know, you only learn by identifying what you don't know so that you can begin to build on that. And so that's really the nature of workshop, is that we look at things critically.